also follow our Twitter handle because we have many conversations on our Twitter spaces as well, and we'll be announcing the next one pretty shortly. So follow us on Twitter as well at GTV_Ghana, and you should also follow us on TikTok and on Instagram because we are everywhere. Of course, you are watching us live on air at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. This is GTV Breakfast, and we are settling down to look at all the stories that are trending in the newspapers, and I'll be sharing some of the headlines with you. The Finder newspaper talking about Parliament to petition local government on behalf of Achim-Mansa district. 25 police regions to offer criminal clearance services, so no longer need to come all the way to Accra to get that done. A feather in the cap of Dr. George Akufo Dampare, IGP there. Former Upper East NPP chairman rallies support for Dr. Bawumia. Heated campaign season and it's getting hotter. Journey to rebuild economy augmented. $604 million from IMF to hit BOG account today. Leap, school feeding and others strengthened. Those stories on the front page of the Finder newspaper. Good morning to you, Elvis Darko. 3 billion EFC deal. IMF support will restore economic stability and growth. Finance Minister assures. 10% transport fares reduction. Commercial drivers defy GPRTU directive to reduce fares. Remember, they were supposed to do that on Wednesday, May the 17th, but that has not happened, and we are asking the question of why. We'll be getting some details for you. Chief Justice inaugurates Gbese District Court in Accra, and court rules on Gregory Afoko's bail application on June 1. So that case is still pending, and it will be revisited on the 1st of June. Adhere strictly to IMF targets, 2 economists to government, and it's Dr. Joseph Sianwe Jepong addressing a conference. You know that the IMF funds are coming at a time when the country finds itself at an economic crossroads, and expectations are high that these funds could be the much-needed lifeblood that the economy needs. Debt restructuring. The nation seeks $10.5 billion in savings. Government optimistic of fruitful engagement. And it's again Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta making some assurances there. Constituency watch for the Daily Graphic. Nadoli Kallio, a mix of agric and gold. So opportunities in that space. We've been talking about some of the opportunities within the mining space, even if you are not into actual mining. So consider Nadoli Kallio as well if you have such ambitions, and also consider going into agriculture. The Daily Graphic gave us those headlines. The Republic Press, NDC shades government over IMF deal. It's the photograph of the minority leader in Parliament, Kaiser Atu-Forson, with that story. Yesterday, he issued about a 3-page statement talking about the IMF funds that have been released to the country. Otumfuo King Charles III to collaborate to reclaim lands destroyed by Galamsey. Interesting story there. Ghana, UK collaborating. Things you should definitely discuss before marriage, especially if you're thinking about doing it anytime soon. The Republic Press gives you some insights there in today's edition. NDC running mate search. Mohammed's girl root for old Jane. So the photograph there is of former President Mahama and his 2020 running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman. We stand with you, IMF boss tells Ghana. And it's a picture of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the IMF boss with that story. So these are the stories that are making the headlines in the papers. At the table, the 2 ladies have joined me, and they'll be sharing their thoughts with us. Right next to me, Hajia Hamdat Ibrahim, former acting chairperson of the CPP. Hajia, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And Ellen Amadeko is a member of the NPP's communications team. Ellen, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
As we always do, we start with our thoughts of the day. We like to call it the rant. Who wants to go first? Hajia.
Let Ellen go first. I'm trying to.
Ellen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to our viewers. It's been a while, and I'm happy I'm back.
Yes.
I'm back home again. And happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yesterday I was watching Kafui, and I think the Islamic cleric and the Christian pastor,
Sheikh and
Dr. Lawrence. And they were speaking about congenital issues that are coming up with children that are being born with their legs positioned in their necks, and all the issues that are coming up in the mining areas. I'm actually doing a little project. I'm in school again, as you know, and my research is on the effects of mining on the health of women and girls in mining areas. And so yesterday the discussion just fitted into what I was at. I was actually working on the project. And I would like to reiterate what they said yesterday. If anybody thinks it is far from us and it is not in Ghana, it is right here with us. The women in the mining areas are going through stress. It's not just the women, the young girls. Some are not menstruating at all. So you meet a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old who has never menstruated. Some too are menstruating far earlier, 7, 8. Some have their whole system, their reproductive system, they simply cannot carry children. And some are carrying the children, they are bringing them out, and we have all these abnormalities. One-eyed children, 5-legged children, children with legs in the necks, legs in the stomach, all manner of things. So those within us who have made up their minds that because of greed, they are going, what even kills me is that there are good ways of mining. We've always had these good ways of mining. So what is it? That we are using mercury, we are using lead, we are using all manner of things to mine. When in most of these countries that are also mined, these things have been outlawed. It is not funny. Look, even fruits, vegetables, food items that are coming from the mining areas are all laden with all these, what we call the hard metals. And we might think that we live in Accra, so it's none of our business, but our food comes from there. So very soon, I won't be surprised if we start having some of these issues with some of our girls and women in Accra. I think we should take a sober moment and think about it. Yesterday, Asante was speaking about chiefs, and I agree with him. There's nowhere any chief can tell me that there's mining going on in your area and you are not aware. So I totally agree with him that he, as a traditional head and a paramount head and the whole king, is going to take his chiefs. If you are in a village or you are even sitting in Accra here and you are sponsoring this, go to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. There are ways and means you can get the mining licenses and do correct mining. Why do you want to kill ourselves? Just this week, somewhere in New Abrim, 7 people dead.
17 injured.
So just to add on to what you said, there is a conference that happened in Fiapre yesterday,
yes,
in the Bono area,
yes,
and they were talking about some of the negative effects of mining, and one of the resource persons that we spoke very candidly, showed us some very, unpalatable photos of some of the deformities that you are talking about. So a lot of investigation are ongoing, and the reports are quite worrying, and we should all really be very concerned. At that same workshop that happened in Fiapre, there was an exhibition of new mining equipment that had been brought into the system. The Minerals Commission called it the gold catcher.
Yes.
So yesterday, our reporter, John Sam Arthur, had the opportunity to interview some of the people there, and they took him through how it worked. So they simply brought something that looked to us like a pile of sand, like what I saw when I went to the mines at Wasatch and Pim recently, and they just put it on the tray. It looked like a tray to me, so I'm not, I look like a miner. On that day, I looked like one.
Oh,
but
that
I'm
day,
not.
yes, I watched you.
So they just put the sand on the tray and run it through the thingy, and they had the gold particles
and you have
at the bottom.
98%. You get all your gold, almost
So
all.
those are available. And
they are
so
not that expensive
have,
compared to the excavators and all the things that people are buying. You can easily get a gold catcher. And walk to the Minerals Commission. It is there. They'll give it to you. We we've been screaming this for the past 2 years.
But you can
These
only
gold
do
catchers
that
have
if
been
you are
around.
actually a legitimate miner. If
So
you are
what
not, the
stops
Minerals
you-
Commission will not deal with you.
And the point is, the
So-
Minerals Commission has, through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, they have processes through the district assemblies where you can get your mining, what do you call it, the licenses.
Even that, people still have consent.
That's
People
the
still
point.
think that the whole small-scale mining thing should be scrapped altogether because there is no effective way of ensuring that the illegal miners are weeded out of the system for the legal ones to
But
remain.
if there's no system for the legal ones to work, all of them will join the illegal miners.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so the negative effects of mining, very, very real, and we all really should be concerned. So we are all involved. Is the Arise Ghana Youth song we're singing again. Ellen, thank you for raising that very crucial point. Hajia.
Yes, a good morning to our cherished viewers, and then good morning to you too. I watched you when you went to the mining community. I was like, what is Thelma doing there, you know? But you realize my mood just changed all of a sudden. The security man in our office just passed on this morning. So, quick works. I was with him on Wednesday. I came and said, Obaya, better come and dash, you come and sit. And I said, oh, I'm in a hurry. Just Wednesday. So you see, life is short. We have to make good use of the life that we are enjoying and then impact positively in people's life. So I don't know what to say. Yeah. But you see, I will just go along with what Helen just said about the mining community. I was with Honorable Andia Piakubi on radio the day before yesterday. How come that in the Asante Achimagogo side, there's no mining? Because the people, the chiefs have resisted illegal mining. Not even the real mining, they have refused. Because he's been able to bring the community along with him, to think along with him. So there's some kind of cordiality among the people, and they have resisted it. Asante, fine. He said it. We are watching. Because most of the chiefs in Ashanti region, Western region, Eastern, they are all there. We cannot say that we don't hear the king of the mining community there. And then we have to bring our people along, educate them, let them understand why they should resist this kind of illegal way of mining. You go to Obuasi, you won't even believe that gold is being extracted there. So even give an example of Johannesburg. Mining is taking place there, but people go from here to even Johannesburg to work because of the way the places. So I think we are killing ourselves. We are polluting the atmosphere. I saw a picture of a child, I don't know whether it's confirmed, being operated with a leg. So I was asking myself, what might have caused this? And then we're even told, I read about one researcher who said most of the women who give birth around the mining community, the children have one eye or maybe some kind of deformity. So why are we chasing money and killing our own people? So I think the government should be up and doing. Let's call a spade. Like the way Boko Haram, we have helicopters chasing them. Let the helicopters chase the miners in the deep forest to get rid of them. Because, Thelma, we'll end up having a society that is not healthy. Then whom are we going to rule over? It is a serious case. It is a very serious thing that all of us, the government of the day, the chiefs, the community, all concerned citizens must rise up. Because of this metal, people are dying. Our waters are polluted. I went to Western region. I went to Takrady on Saturday. I don't know, that's Dompoase or something. There's this river. When you just add sugar, you get drink. Because it's just like this one is even nice. So I asked myself, some few years back when you are passing, and then we have foreigners doing this to our country. Meanwhile, they cannot do that in their own country. Go to Kumasi, go to the villages around there. Chinese have taken over those places. We must show bold leadership and take decision and get rid of people who are not supposed to be in this country. Rwanda have done it. Hey, they have deported most of the Chinese who are not doing the right thing in their country. Why can't we do that? Why are we protecting people that cannot even spit in their country without being arrested? And look at what they are doing to our country with the collaboration of our own people, because no Chinese know any side without a Ghanaian showing the person where the thing is. So Thelma, it's a very serious issues that Helen has raised, and I want to be associated with whatever she said concerning this illegal mining that is killing our environment.
Haja, thank you for adding your voice. So Stop Illegal Mining is a campaign that we've constantly championed at this table. We display these bottles so that people are reminded always to choose to do the right thing. Choose the national good over the personal good. And it's a silent campaign. We don't want to see River Pra looking in any of these states. Ideally, we want to see it in pristine condition, like this Awake Water, who partner us on GTV Breakfast. Stories of the day: debt restructuring, nation seeks 10.5 billion in savings, adhere strictly to IMF targets, to economists to government. Rice importation will cease. Jospon is making the claim here. Health experts deliberate on hypertension disorders in pregnancies. Hypertension has also been very topical. This week we've marked World Hypertension Day, raising awareness on the need for you to monitor your blood pressure, especially in pregnancy. The risks are quite serious, and we encourage you to check your BP today. Nurses advised to treat patients with respect. Is the nurses on the blog today. Ad hoc committees to investigate collapsed building. We had 4 in a space of 8 days a couple of weeks ago, quite worrying. IMF support will restore economic stability and growth, Finance Minister assures. And 10% transport fare reduction. Commercial drivers defy GPRTU directive to reduce fares. Anas to testify in court with disguised mask, and he will face Kwesi Nyantakyi in that number 12 expose that he did years ago. Boy dies after allegedly drinking poisoned palm wine. Sad story on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. Shop attendant granted 80,000 Ghana cedis bail for allegedly stealing cosmetics. 80,000 Ghana cedis bail for stealing cosmetics. The final newspaper: Parliament to petition local government on behalf of Achemanse District, 25 police regions to offer criminal clearance services. Jachi Kweson's removal. We are ready for by-election. NDC is speaking here about the embattled Assin North MP, or in the case of the ruling, according to the Supreme Court ruling, the not member of parliament for Assin North. IMF deal prepare for severe hardship minority to Ghanaians, and the Republic Press talking about Otumfuo and King Charles III's collaboration to reclaim lands destroyed by Galamsey, perhaps as an extended conversation from his visit to King Charles and Buckingham Palace when he was there for the coronation. These are the stories that are in the newspapers. Ladies, debt restructuring has been good. This week we are getting some good monies coming in. The IMF finally approved government's request for a $3 billion bailout. Already we are told that some $600 million, which is a first tranche, will be hitting our account sometime today or over the next few days. I'll start with Ellen, and I ask the question on everyone's mind. Have we learned the lessons, and are we willing to do better, do you think?
This is our 17th IMF bailout since 1992. So we need to see. According to the finance minister, we have learned our lessons. We are going to use the money for exactly the purposes for which they were given. And we are going to get ourselves out of this. But until we change some of the fundamental things that we have been doing over and over again for 17 times, I believe we'll get out of this. I believe we are going to get our economy back again onto safer grounds and to higher grounds. But in the next 5 to 6, maybe 10 years, if we don't take care, we'll be back here again. Because the fundamental things we all need to do, we are not doing. What are some of those things? Our taste for foreign goods. We have decided as Ghanaians that we like everything foreign. So we'll keep on running in these cycles. I believe government intends to put some of this money towards entrepreneurship and all the, the NBSSI, training. They've started the training, the MEIP, where my sister Kuzi is. Is it NBSSI? Their new name. I'm trying to get their new name.
Oh,
their new name. It's now an agency.
Yeah,
GEA. Yes.
GEA.
And the CEOs there and
it's Ghana Enterprises Agency.
Yes, they are all doing everything possible to make sure that our entrepreneurship drive moves. I mean, one of the people who have come out of this whole NEIP business is Pizza Man Chicken Man. Now, if we can have 10 or 15 of such enterprises around, that tells you that we are moving on. But my fear is in the next 10, 15 years, 8 years, we'll be back again, because Thelma, you and I have decided that we'll rather buy gold jewelry from Dubai than to buy from our local jewelers. We have decided that we want perfumed rice from Thailand than the perfumed rice that comes from the Volta region. We have decided that you drink pineapple juice that is imported from South Africa than to drink pineapple juice that Ellen produces.
We'll send you a bill.
So, I haven't mentioned the name of my. If you want, I can do that. Yeah. But I'm just trying to
and accept the bill.
Yeah, well,
let's go on.
But we decided that you rather buy the imported ones. So mine goes onto the market, and people like me who produce, it goes onto the market and nobody buys because that is slightly more expensive. So until we solve that issue, just rice, sugar, chicken, juice. If you're able to solve just these 3 items, we are not going to go back there again. But the point is, government will be trying to solve it. We'll get our importers up in arms, and then you get Ghanaians who also go and buy.
But there's an active agenda to minimize imports, and rice is one of the items that have been mentioned. So on page 13 of the Daily Graphic, talking about the importation of rice, which is about to see some kind of reviews. Also, this is the story. The chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Siawe Jepong, has vowed that with the advent of the Jospon Group Rice Project, the importation of rice into the country will be minimized, if not stopped. So local manufacturers are really doing a lot in that space.
I mean,
recently I've had local rice that tasted better. Now I went to buy the rice I used to buy before, and I didn't like it. Because now I've fallen in love with the local rice.
What's even happening? Because the local rice, now we can produce a long grain local rice.
And perfumed too.
And perfumed
rice.
Long time. You know what some people are doing? They are rebagging. So they pick the Ghanaian ones, and then they put it in the imported bags, because some of us still have a taste for the imported ones.
I mean, I don't want to drop names, but this week I went back to buy a brand that I was used to buying that I absolutely loved in the past, and I hated it. So the local rice is getting better.
Yes.
Sticking to made in Ghana.
As you are sticking to the rice, you are sticking to the juice and the chicken and the eggs and everything.
Chicken and eggs. Eggs, yes. Chicken, I just buy the chicken. I don't know where it comes from. I need to go to the cold. And I'm sure a lot of people are like that. How many of you know where the frozen chicken you buy comes from? Yeah. We just walk to the cold store and we just buy these things.
But me, I'm not a fan of that kind of chicken anyway. So.
But you see, when we talk about stopping imports, there are also consequences. For example, soy. There was a ban on exports of soy a while back, and the farmers are agitating. The reasoning behind it was that the soy was needed to feed the local industries when it came to poultry feed, when it came to supply on the domestic side. However, because the farmers were used to getting a lot more money for the product beyond our shores, they struggled. So are we weighing those two side by side? So when you talk about, Ellen, when you talk about, putting our priorities, lining up our ducks in a row, then those are some of the conversations that we should have. That we will have some discomforts along the way, but we should be ready to stay with the tide and get the results.
When Nigeria
yes, I was just going
importation of foreign rice, did they have it easy? They didn't. They had people who were smuggling rice from Ghana to Nigeria, but they decided it doesn't matter what happens, we are going to do it. And the funny thing, I heard it was a Ghanaian who actually went to organize the whole thing for them. Yes. So it can be done. Yes, there are going to be uncomfortable situations. Yes, people are going to lose some of their monies. But then if you're able to import rice from outside Ghana, and there's some rice here, why then can't you just shift your business model? Go get it and still distribute it.
I think we need some kind of education and orientation as Ghanaians. You see, this IMF bill, I think we are all happy it has come or it is coming because of what is happening in the country. But I think unless and until we change the way we do things, as Helen rightly indicated, we might, that is not my prayer anyway, come to the same table and discuss about IMF or World Bank bill. But I think the government should look at the productive sectors and see what can be done. Yesterday I heard that interest rates are now going down. TBs are now, the rates are going down, and so which means there's some kind of hope. But how to maintain it might be a problem. But you see, there's another way that we can even work as a country without just trooping to the IMF. I'm not an economist, but I think common sense can tell us that when we try to minimize importation of certain goods in this country, at least we'll be able to strengthen our cedi against the foreign currencies that we are chasing. Let's look at timing. What time do traders get more dollars maybe to go outside and buy goods? We have to look at that. And what do they buy? What can they be given as an incentive for them to maybe diversify in whatever they are doing? We should look at that. We should have a larger picture of how we want our economy to grow. Because we have a situation where we're talking about gold. How many percentage of gold that is owned by Ghanaians? And how much of that gold is being refined here? Is it that about 90% or 95% goes outside the country, refined somewhere and brought back to us? And why can't we look at contracts that we have signed? We can renegotiate the contract that we have signed with the multinational. We can look at it. Since it is not inuring to the benefit of us, Ghanaians, we'll look at the contracts again. Those mining in Obuasi, what are the terms and conditions? What can we do? Can we up our percentage by 10 or 15%? And can we say that when you extract this gold, such an amount of gold should be sort of refined here, and so that we'll be able to get the taxes? And
do we have a gold refinery?
We can. Oh,
do we have the requisites?
The gold refinery was almost being commissioned, and then the reactionaries, what happened? We don't want to go there. But why can't we have a gold refinery? 60-something years after independence, why can't we revive Tema oil refinery so that we can refine oil and then stop buying finished product from somewhere? I was reading an article by a Nigerian on one of the platform telling us how the Naira is faring against the dollar. And then he took us back to 1990-something, how it was faring. And then he is also complaining about finished product being imported without it being refined in the country that is producing oil. You understand? But now there's a refinery being built by an individual in Nigeria, Dangote, isn't it? So which means they will get the byproduct and everything. But what can we do as a country and also sort of revamp Tema oil refinery? And we can also, the little that we are getting from whatever is being given to us, we will refine it here, because refining oil in a country, there are so many advantages that you get. You see, we have to start thinking Ghanaian, because nobody can come and develop our country if we don't make it possible for us to be involved in the developmental process of this country. Because, Thelma, we've gone for IMF, $3 billion. I can tell you, in Ghana, if we had maybe contacted some people in this country and maybe giving them some incentive, we'll get that $3 billion in this country without going to the IMF. So I think let's do something new. Let's strategize. Let's see what we can do internally. How can we be buying rice from Thailand and other countries? And then we have rice here. My father was a farmer. We had all the type of rice. This long grace, even in the 60s, 70s, there were long grace in Boga. Because my father was farming in Nasia. We had everything in the house. We don't buy rice from outside. So now the Nasia rice mill, Zwarongo rice mill, where are all those rice mills that we cannot sort of re-equip it to meet the modern technology and do all this? Because Thelma, some people too can tell you, because some of the Ghana rice too, when you go and buy it, you have to work on it. So why can't we improve it in such a way that if somebody buys, he or she wouldn't have any excuse of saying that when I went and bought the rice, there was this, there was
stones
that.
In it. I haven't had that experience in.
But is it a hatch?
No, but the particular brands that I have seen, the local brands that I have seen on the market, I think we've come a very long way.
Yes.
And the rice is looking as polished as the
But why should we even
rice.
polish
They
it?
are looking
Why should we concentrate on polishing and eating polished rice?
Ellen talked about our acquired taste.
Let's
Because
change
somebody
it.
wants to eat
Let's change
wheat
it.
rice, and nobody wants to sit down and gather wheat and pound it into a powder. We want the wheat to go to the mill for it to be, stripped of the fiber, and then it should come to us in that flour texture. Acquired taste.
This Guinea corn and millets. Have you tasted the teaser before?
Which of the teaser did we have here recently, Martiti? So, for
I'm telling you,
in the past month, during the Eid,
you see, we have to change the way, should I say, our taste. Because look at other countries. You go.
Oh, we had millet teaser.
You go to US. You go to a restaurant, and the Chinese is serving China dishes. You understand?
But there's a Ghana restaurant.
Oh, but few. What I'm trying to say is that all those big hotels, we should have Tuozafi, Apra Pransa, all on our listen. Somebody will be curious. If you write Apra Pransa, maybe a foreigner will go, what is Apra Pransa?
What is Apra Pransa?
You see, and then they will educate the person, this is Apra Pransa. I want to taste it. It is bringing money in our economy. They would like to eat shrimps.
But we have a sea that produces
but not, they do it not like the way we would have done it. You understand? It is foreign taste, whether we like it or not. Why can't we Ghanaianize the whole thing? We domesticate our tastes. You understand? It is incumbent on all of us, and we are all guilty of that. We won't blame it. We are all guilty of that. We like polished rice. My sister, we have to be serious as a continent, and especially as a country, if we don't want to constantly go to IMF and be borrowing. And then, as we are borrowing, it's difficult to even be told whether our debt stock is reducing. So we are piling the debt.
For this one, we are told that for the next 5.5 years, we will not have to pay anything of the monies that are coming to us. And after 10 years, after the 5.5 years, we'll have to repay it over a period of 10 years at zero interest.
Oh, I think
so we are still going to give them the 3 billion.
Oh, okay.
But at zero interest. So we are paying this debt in 5.5 years, at least the first tranche of that payment.
Then we should put it in sectors that would bring
Which sectors
revenue.
Do you think will bring us the revenue? Because the finance minister said it will set us on the path of economic recovery. But yesterday he was also quick to add that it's not a magic wand that will solve all our problems. So some of the areas are quite protected, and we've heard assurances from government officials that some of these areas will not be massively affected by the any conditionalities, if I'm allowed to use that word. And so we've talked about the school feeding program and the fears that some Ghanaians have that this could be scrapped. But Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and the IMF Mission Chief, Mr. Stephen Rodet, said social intervention programs such as school feeding, LEAP, capitation grants and others will be enhanced under the $3 billion extended credit facility. Yesterday we monitored that press conference from Washington, D.C. on GBC News. Here's excerpts of it.
The issue of ensuring that we protect the vulnerable is very clear in the program. So I think we have increased the resource envelope for the school feeding program. We are doubling, I think, the LEAP program to ensure that the welfare support continues. So no, we should not worry about that. And you have always heard the president being very clear about ensuring the protection of lives and livelihood, and that spirit will continue.
Ensuring adequate social protection is a key objective of the program. The budget, 2023 budget, has already taken important steps in this regard to not only to protect, but I would say to bolster support to the vulnerable through the most effective and the most targeted programs. But I'd say also, and I would encourage everyone to go and look at the staff report that has been published yesterday. It includes a lot of analysis and descriptions of how the program will go about monitoring these aspects and ensuring that in the face of what could be difficult policies to implement on the fiscal consolidation front, these are implemented in a way that is the least disruptive as possible, and by not only protecting but increasing the coverage of the effective social programs.
That was the meeting in Washington, D.C. yesterday, the press conference that announced the official acceptance of Ghana's request for the IMF bailout. Ken Ofori-Atta there speaking with the IMF staff at that meeting. So some of these things are protected, and so the assurance is some policy interventions to support all the pro-poor policies, as they are called, LEAP program,
you see,
and the school feeding program.
Let me talk about this.
I've also heard NHIS will also receive some.
Let me talk about the school feeding in particular. Whether we like it or not, we know the school feeding, we are facing challenges. But let me tell you, any time a cook doesn't cook in the school, the next day the attendance drop. Even though some people think that the food is not better, at least it brings some people to school. So we are happy that it's not going to be affected. And then the LEAP. Giving somebody in a deprived community 100 Ghana cedis, do you know what it means to the person? So I'm happy that it's not going to be affected. The National Health Insurance, I have a challenge, I have a problem, because every single thing that you buy, you contribute. So as for the National Health Insurance, I think let's look at how we collect the contribution very well. Is it that we're going to look for a particular account that as soon as you pay, it goes straight into that account, so that we don't hear service providers saying that for the past 3 months, 1 year, they've not been paid. Meanwhile, every single day you contribute to the National Health Insurance. That is my problem with the National Health Insurance. If we do it properly, we don't even need IMF support to run our National Health Insurance scheme in this country, because every single item you buy in a supermarket, go and see, you pay the National Health Insurance. So where does that particular money goes to? So if we can detach it from maybe the consolidated fund or something, and then we say this account is purely for National Health Insurance contribution of individuals in the country. I'm telling you, Telma, we wouldn't need anybody to come and support us, because it's the health of the society is very, very important. If we don't have a healthy society, by all means our economy will not be healthy. Because if you don't have strong people to go out there and work, and then you can risk some revenue, it will be difficult. So I think I'm happy that is happening, but I think the health insurance, we can manage it ourselves.
Right, so I'm going over to our screen to read a few of the messages that you are sending to us. 05555610034. And these are the messages that we are getting on our screens, and they are your thoughts and not the thoughts of GBC. Okay, trying to get that one to open. Hi BFS, my advice to government is to use part of the IMF bailout to invest heavily in agribusiness like rice, poultry, oil, tomatoes, etc. to reduce importation, create more jobs, and that will generate more revenue to run government business and other developmental projects. Otherwise, Wahala continues. Michael Center starts from Asha Laja. Well, not sure this was meant for this page. Mahamaba Kojo from Assume, I blame IMF for giving this corrupt government take-home money. Ken Abre, thanks to the IMF, they know and understand that our current economic situation is not as a result of mismanagement. We are a proud nation. We won't go to IMF, and IMF becomes breaking news. Ellen, perhaps when we return, you would like to take a pick on some of these issues. Nanado asked his brother to be allowed to stay on and secure the IMF deal before resigning. That is down now. When is he resigning? So my question, what happens to the government if he goes to the IMF? Does it mean the government is ruling the country well? Because this government has told us that any government who goes to IMF is a failed government. Lottie Jones from Assume sent us that message. Check this. They said they won't go to IMF because it has dire consequences. When they finally went, they told us how different the appearance before the fund was. When the deal was not coming, all our economic challenges were blamed on a delayed deal from the fund. Today, just after the deal was secured, the finance minister took a different turn to tell us how the deal isn't the magic to our economic crisis. Why did we go there? You just can't trust these people. Nana Opoku sent us that. Good morning, please. I want to tell you about the street lights at Airport Residential Area. Okay. She's saying the main road from Silver Star Tower to Airport Second, which is not working for the past 2 months. It's very bad. I'd like you to come and see for yourselves. Be grateful if you show this on your television. Miss G will send our team to monitor the situation, and if we see that that's what it is indeed, we will come and report on it. Our Keep an Eye team will do that. Good morning, Thelma. We are appealing to Nana Akufo-Addo not to use the IMF money to rent luxury private jets again and the other necessary expenditures to bring back the economy to the benefit of ordinary Ghanaians. From Alhaji Haruna in Ashaiman. Alhaji Hamza in Pig Farm. We are told because we are not going to IMF, hence e-levy deductions through mobile money transactions. But now we are at IMF, the monies has been approved for Ghana, so why still have e-levy on our books? It is time government cancels the e-levy transactions. If only government is being fair to Ghanaians. Hardships have moved from bad to worse, and taxes are on high levels, and businesses are collapsing. It is time government does the right thing. No, I wonder, because this government is not to be trusted. Okay, those are the thoughts of Hamza. Blueprint writes from Esika Doketan, while the political opposition to the e-levy continues in February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. The Russia-Ukraine war, with its effects on the global supply chain and energy costs, worsened the fragile economy momentum from 2021. Thus, the decision in July 2022 to go to the IMF for support. Let's all of us rally support to bring back the economy on track. Greetings to his people there. Yvonne, just watched Social Media Corner live on Facebook. Really enjoyed it. You're doing well lately. Hey, kudos. Thank you for liking it. Kudos to the SMC team and all the people who put it together. And we hope that you continue enjoying everything else that we put on our social media platforms. Our handle is GTV Ghana. More messages on our screen, 055-5561034. Leviticus Powers saying good morning. Ghanaians are grateful to GPRT and all other transport unions for the reduction of transport fares. Traders and market women must also decrease prices of goods and services. As the city is now performing, prices of imported goods should be decreased. Finally, IMF is here, and so breaking the 8 by the NPP is highly possible. Leviticus Powers is also having his say. Jack Pata from Ajeng Kotoku. Is that the snake calf? Jack Pata, yes. are we fighting Galamsey or Galamsey is fighting us? For a long time, we have not won. It looks as if Galamsey is winning the fight. So does Stephen Amoah want us to applaud them for what they have done to Ghana? Honestly, he should show some remorse and humility. Nana from Klagon. Good morning, Thelma. Please, how sure are we that the IMF bailout will not be cancelled or channeled, perhaps, yeah, missing a word, to the National Cathedral? Nana is asking from Klagon. Now that Ghana has gone to the IMF, when is the government going to remove the evil levy from our Momo transactions? And those are your thoughts, and I'll pick your reactions, Ellen, among which is the conversations around the fate of the finance minister now that the country has secured the deal, which is the promise the president made when the agitations for his removal, even by members of his own side of the House of Parliament, made the call. Is it fair for people to ask, like one of our viewers is asking, when is Ken Ofori-Atta being relieved of his post?
What is his interest in who is finance minister? Your thing is that your economy is run well. Anyway, it's up to the president. Our constitution gave him the right to choose who he wants. So if the president decides that Mr. Ofori-Atta should go, he will go. If the president decides that he will stay, he will stay.
Hadia, where do you think we are going with the fate of the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, now that the deal is in the bag?
No, I think in all fairness, we're all, some of us were saying that Ken must go, Ken must go. His own members of parliament had to meet the president, and it was a promise by the president that you and I were not there, that after the IMF deal, he will. Then I asked myself, I think people wanted Ken to go because they were thinking he was not managing the economy well. So I asked myself, if by tomorrow the dollar drops to maybe 5 cedis to $1, what are we going to say? So I said, let's look at the positive and negative aspect of the whole thing. I don't know what is going through the minds of those MPs because we don't have that power. We can only say something, but the decision lies with the president. Or I don't know whether there were some further engagement with the president. And maybe now that we are seeing some positive signs, are they still going to hold on to that position? I think it's a running story. So let's wait and see what the economy will be like in the few months that we've received the IMF. Because whether we like it or not, he led the delegation to secure the IMF deal. And then now we say, let's remove Ken. Somebody too will say that he's not the only person who worked. There are people in the ministry. There's a minister at the finance ministry. There are deputy ministers. Maybe without him, it is left with us, the citizens, to see the performance of the government based on what we are receiving from IMF. Then we'll judge him from that point.
So you're walking back the president's communication that his fate will be determined after the IMF
yes,
deal is secured?
That is why I'm saying that those who the president met, that's the members of parliament, the assurance were given to them. So that is why I'm saying I wouldn't know whether maybe now that there is some kind of improvement in the economy somehow,
the sentiment
would they still hold that? Or will the president say, okay, can we sit again because this is, I've seen some positive signs, and can you please reconsider your position? Or you think I should still let them? I think it's lobbying or dialogue. You understand?
Ultimately, the decision lies with the president.
That is what I'm saying. Is that the president will decide? And that is why I'm saying that, Helen, listen to me very well. If there is some conversation again between them, because the president cannot just keep quiet if he has really made a promise to the 80-something MPs that he met. He cannot just keep quiet and say, I'm not going to communicate to them. Then that will mean a lot. So I'm not in the MPP. I don't know.
That's why we're asking Ellen. Whether the president deserves the right.
The president deserves the right, but the people who went to the president deserve some explanation from the president. Let's be fair. The president, everybody knows that the powers lies with the president, but it's the same president who made a promise. So in order for people of his own party to have confidence in whatever he is, I'm sure there must be some continuous engagement in order for the people to have confidence. That's what I'm saying. But whether we like, he will say, I've appointed or disappointed a person.
Almost all the papers have details about the IMF bailout and the support that is going to be coming into the government programs and interventions. Daily Graphic talking about the return to the capital market, and the finance minister saying that the government was not in a rush to return to the international capital market to raise additional financing. But we do also know, according to the meeting that happened yesterday, that government is targeting $10.5 billion of external debt relief, and they hope that this will further help us to get out of the woods much quicker. Other stories, the economists asking government to strictly adhere to the IMF target. At that first meeting, we heard the IMF official talking about a monitoring system. Is there an assurance, Hajia, perhaps I'll put this to you, are you comforted with the thought that these funds will be prudently put to use?
That is exactly what we are all hoping and praying for, because we don't want to be trooping or hopping to IMF anytime we are facing any challenges. So I think monitoring is very, very important. Where are we going to put this? Because I don't know. I stand to be corrected. I don't know whether I read somewhere that the banking system will be supported with $1.5 billion or something. So if that will happen, then the banks too will sort of lower their interest rate for businesses to be able to do what? Get some loans with a high interest rate. That can, in a way, boost the economy of the country. I'm not a finance person. I'm just using my secondary school economic understanding of.
Our mothers used home sense to run
the country
for years.
So it is good that the IMF are saying, or maybe the financial analysts are saying that we should monitor. It is very, very important that we take good care of this money, as somebody will put it in sectors that will reap some revenue. We shouldn't say that because the first 5.5 years we're not going to pay any interest, and then after 10 years is zero
after
interest.
5.5 years.
5 years is
we start paying it over 10 years at zero interest.
As zero interest. You see, we shouldn't say, since we're not going to pay interest, we can maybe take this and do this before you realize. It's just like going for a loan that maybe you don't need all. Some businesses collapse. I mean, the minor businesses of women especially. You want 1,000 Ghana cedis. You ask the person, why do you want 1,000 Ghana cedis? They said, I'm going to use it for my business. What business? I want to sell eggs. One egg, boiled eggs. And why do you need 1,000 Ghana cedis for? So when you go in for 10 cedis, which is less than 500 Ghana cedis, you might think that the rest of the 500 cedis is for you to buy your funeral cloth and Aure is wedding cloth, and so adoring, Kojemo, and so if you don't plan well, you think that 500 extra is part of your profit. So that is what we should be guided.
Right. So monitoring, what are we monitoring? The Finder newspaper gives us some ideas on page 2. Over 50 structural policy reforms to be set out under this next leg to help reset Ghana's economy. Macroeconomic stability is the target, accelerated economic renaissance. The Finder talking about the $604 million, which is expected to hit the Bank of Ghana account today. Target of $10.5 billion external debt service relief to Ghana. Finance Minister and the team working to get some debt forgiveness from its international partners. Review of quantitative objectives in June. So in June, we'll be seeing a review of what the expectations are and what they mean, and they include zero financing and primary balance, and those will determine the date for the next review for the subsequent release of another $600 million, we are told, in December. Finance Minister has assured there's no rush in getting back to international capital markets, so not looking to borrow anytime soon. Beginning of real rebuilding. President has given the assurance that we'll see a dramatic economic turnaround, and of course, other details in the Finder newspaper. The Ghanaian Times also carried the story, page 12 of the paper, picture of the finance minister. A lot of the stories dedicated to Ghana's relief there. But there are other stories in the papers which also beg our attention, and this time transport fares. The swiftness with which fares increase almost immediately is not directly related to the same acceleration when it's on, the arrow is pointing downwards. So some GPRTU operatives, the operators, have issued the new list for the reductions in the fares, the 10%. Others remain adamant that they are waiting for their superiors to help them to bring the fares down. When the increase comes 15%, they now can calculate.
But you know, Thelma,
it's 70 pesos, and they slap it on. But when they reduce, when they have to reduce it, there's an issue. How do we feel about this?
No, you know, I even want to look at it at the other side of the coin. You know, when we were growing up, whenever there's increments in transport fare, you buy Daily Graphic. You see everything. You see everything, and you know what to pay. But I think, was it last week or beginning of this week that we heard that transport fares were going down? But other unions of the transport industry were saying that it's just the GPRTU that met leadership and took that decision without consulting them. So that was why there were some challenges. But I think in going forward, I think all transport unions should meet and decide on this reduction or increment. But I understand where you are coming from, because in fact, when they are going to increase, there is no conflict. There is no problem. There is no disagreement.
There's no delay.
But there's no delay. But when it comes to the reduction, that's where we have challenges. But I think we should be seen as working together, because now some people are saying they are waiting for their superior. And you know, GPRTU, they were the first. Fine. If you are leading, lead the group together so that there be some kind of synergy in the whole thing that you are doing. Because yesterday, I was in the house hearing the news that people were fighting, the trotro mates and the passengers were fighting since Tuesday. You see, I think it shouldn't happen like that. I was telling somebody that without us, they won't get any revenue. And then without them too, we cannot move from one place
They complain
to another.
that the market women who use the dollar as an excuse to hike their prices have not reduced them when the cedi appears to be relatively more stable against the US dollar.
No, it's depending on where you are going to buy your items. So I have one girl in my house.
They reduce
Thelma,
this?
if I want to buy anything, she'll tell me, Mommy, let me close from school, I'll go and buy it. In the same Mokola, you see 70 cedis here, the same product. You move 65. Before you realize you buy it at 45 Ghana cedis. This is Ghana for you. Everybody is selling the way he or she wants to sell. But if you can comb the market well like my daughter Samira would do, I'm telling you, get the best. She will tell you, Mommy, because she's a caterer, she knows where to go and buy all the same thing. The same thing. So it is the market women and men, at least they should also know that it is not easy. We get our money, we come to buy from you, so don't squeeze us too much.
So they are part of the problem.
Yeah, in fact, they are part of the problem. Because if you go to the market, you will see Olonka of Gari here, 30 cedis. You move here 25, finally you buy it for 22. I did it in Domi 3 days ago. 22.
But are they justified to say that because the market, the traders are not reducing prices, they are also not compelled to reduce the transport fares.
Oh, but they base their increment on fuel. So when the fuel comes down, they have to.
But there are spare parts and other.
Yeah, that is why I'm saying there must be some kind of synergy in the way they do their things, collaboration between all the unions, so that maybe I want to see a situation whereby maybe if there's a decrease in petroleum products, okay, we are in May. Let's see how we are going to sustain it to June, July. Maybe for 2 months, if there's stability, then we call for the reduction.
Let's hear.
You understand? Because if it's every month, and then maybe somebody will say, go back, come forward, go. It's a bit of a problem. That's my candid opinion.
Ellen.
Fuel prices rose all the way to 22 cedis, 23 cedis per gallon a few months ago, if you remember. And these prices went up when the fuel prices went to 23 cedis, 20. In fact, at a point, I think diesel was almost hitting 25.
Now it's about 12.
Within the last 6-7 months, it's come all the way to 12 cedis. So our drivers have kept the fares at that 25 cedis level for the past 6 months. And they think they are being fair to all of us. That bring it down 10%, and there have been more than 90% decrease from when you pegged it. And they are giving excuses about market women. When they were pegging it, did they give excuses about market women? So sometimes you call a spade a spade. You peg the prices at when 1 gallon of diesel was 25 cedis. As we speak, a gallon of fuel is 12 cedis. And you are telling Ghanaians...
A liter.
A liter.
A liter is 12 cedis. You are telling Ghanaians that because some market women have decided they won't bring down their prices,
that's not an excuse.
You will not bring down your fuel fares for 10% when the fuel prices have come down by more than 80%. You are just being mean, wicked, and un-Ghanaian and unpatriotic. Let's just tell them in their face.
Ladies having their say about the stories of the day.
They should reduce.
Should I say what I said in tea? Should I say maybe everybody will get it?
I'm sure they got it. We have to quickly get out of here, but we are expecting the fuel prices, the reduction in fuel prices to take effect across board and not just in pockets around the country. But there are other stories that you can follow in the newspapers.
The dollar is going down.
The minority is saying that Ghanaians should prepare for severe hardships, even though the IMF funds are about to hit our accounts very, very shortly. Details in the final newspaper, page number 5. The embattled MP, NDC, says they are ready for the by-election at Asin North, and those are other stories that you can keep your interest and focuses on. Haja Hamdatu Ibrahim, former chairperson of the CPP, and Ellen Amadeko, member of the NPP communications team, have sat with us this morning for the headlines. Thank you so much, ladies.
You know, the former MP for Ada, Mrs. Ameta Williams,
okay,
the former majority chief whip during the Lemans administration, will be buried this weekend.
Okay.
Mrs. Ameta Williams.
Okay.
She was a very die-hard, impromised and educational. Yes.
May she rest in peace.
Amen.
More to expect at the breakfast
Ada
table. And before we rise, I want to send key birthday shout from Eugenia Adom of GBC to her mom, Madame Eva Odoyachem, on the occasion of your 85th birthday. So you are 85 years old today, 19th of May. And Auntie Eugenia, who is the acting channel manager here at GTV, she wants to send you all her love. She says she loves you. Happy 85th birthday. We'll be back for more conversations right here at this breakfast table. This is Breakfast on GTV. Our guys are on the ground, and there's an art project that is happening now at Bema Camp overhead. Jay Gabra is keeping an eye on that for us. Phase 3 of the Art for All project happening live at Bema Camp overhead. Mr. Gabra, what can you tell us? What's happening?
Thank you so much, Tom. I still hashtag GTV Breakfast. Welcome to Keep an Eye. So today we are taking a break from the doom and gloom of all the issues surrounding us, and I'm bringing you something beautiful, something artsy, and we are right underneath the Bema Camp overhead, where we can tell this beautiful artwork we can see just surrounding me. I have with me one of the artists who helped do this beautiful work. They started with the Akwa-Edze interchange, then they went to Tetekwashi, and then of course they are here at the Bema Camp overhead. It's phase 3 of the project. It was unveiled back in December, and we are here to speak about the significance of this project. So Nicholas, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Okay. Thank you, and hope you're doing well as well.
I am also doing well. So first of all, I just want to know what inspired the creation of this mural.
Yeah, the inspiration is, seeing this beautiful overheads and tunnels, seeing it with these posters pasting around it. It's destroying the walls. So we all came together with our leader, who is Manche Aikwe. You know, there was this project we did in Circle. We painted mural, we were sitting, and when we started talking about the overhead, then he was like, okay, I'm going to work around it and make sure this comes to pass. Okay. You know, so that was when we began. And then John Nkrumah Akufo-Addo was the one, you know, who was working around funding and pushing us to do all this, just to beautify the walls and preventing it from using the posters. You know, and as well, we are using the walls to tell our stories.
Okay. Yeah. Our stories, as in like Ghanaian stories.
They are Ghanaian stories. If you look at Akwa-Edze, it's about this yeah that happens in Jamestown, celebrating the twin, you know, spiritually and all that. If you go to Tetekwashi, we were celebrating the women. There were these women that has not even been mentioned in schools. You know, so they were supposed to be celebrated. Even the Ghana independence was funded by a woman, but she's never been mentioned. Nana Ashikishan. You know, I have never heard it until we were about to do this mural. So yeah, this is one of them. Yeah.
So when we come to this mural, what are we looking at?
This is Jane Sane. You know, Jane Sane life matters about the world, matters about life. So if you look at these murals. Okay, if you look at this mural, you see everything live. You know, daily activities, organic, you know, communications, because immediately you wake up in the morning, you start thinking of the steps to take, communication and all that. If you look at it, you see leaves. We need leaves. We need trees. We need greens. You know, if you look at the mushrooms, they are there. You see different colors. Immediately you step out to do your work, you meet different people with different backgrounds. You know, we all come together. This is unity. We see unity in it. We see organic in it. We see daily life. We see communication. And most of all, it's beautiful. You can see some symbols, but these symbols are not Edinkra symbols. These symbols are Ga symbols, you know, and it speaks. Yeah.
So what kind of techniques or materials did you use to do in creating this mural?
Yeah, we use acrylic paint, we use brushes, we use rollers, we use spray cans as well. You know, the group, we have different skills. When you talk about art, art is very broad. We have abstract artists, we have realistic artists, we have graffiti artists and all that. We all came together to get this one piece of work done. Yeah.
We are about wrapping up the conversation. I just want to know if there were any challenges or obstacles when you were creating this mural.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. When you look at the road, this road is very busy. You know, climbing the scaffold, going to the top is kind of scary. But then definitely, because you know what you want, you have to sacrifice, you have to take the risk and get it done. Because we are so passionate about doing this. So we love doing it. You do what you do. The only way you can do great things is to love what you do. So as long as we are in love with what we are doing, we take the risk to make sure we get it done.
Okay, so when viewers look, when people look at this, you want them to see live. You want them to see how organic we are, and you see. I see the gun symbols and all that. And your final remarks before you leave us. Is there anything on your mind you'd like to share before you go?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. It goes to politicians. It goes to pastors. It goes to companies. You know, you don't need to post posters on the walls. Like, your good deeds will sell you out. If you are even hidden and you are doing great things, once your great things goes out there, it will attract others to follow up. But then using posters is kind of destroying our walls around the city. The best way you want to advertise, fine, you can print. There's this flexi.
Well, 85th birthday. Also, a big birthday shout to Reverend Frimpong Da Costa. He's resident pastor of a member of the Full Gospel Business Men's Fellowship. Okay, so back to the show. Yvette Tete, who is an environmentalist and an athlete, has completed her mission. Kudos, big kudos. She swam across the Volta Lake from Burpa to Ada over a stretch of 450 kilometers. Sometimes she went days without sleeping, and she swam for days. And she went on that expedition to, draw attention to the water body and the different stages of pollution or cleanliness. And that's the Agbechi Living Water Expedition. So this is a congratulatory one from the whole of GBC to you, because she was here. This is where she launched her exhibition. And so she's on the phone line. This is a congratulatory phone call. We'll have her in studio next week for her to give us the proper 411. And so she's on phone line now. Good morning, Yvette. Okay, so before she comes on the phone line, we are going to send you to the Volta Lake. Some snippets of Yvette doing her thing is coming up on our screens now.
We are in Togome, a town very near to Akuse Dam. And we've just taken a little walk around, and now we're waiting for some bull